So Seiko recently upgraded their Seiko 5 lineup of field watches, and today I have one of them to show you. This is the SRPH31. It is a blue dial version. I got this off of Amazon, and it was actually in pretty terrible condition. At least the packaging was. The outer box is pretty much destroyed. Inner box has a big cut on it. There are things missing, so it only came with the card here. I think it should come with a booklet as well. Did not come with that. The hang tag and this little foam piece are inside, separated from the watch. So here is the hang tag. It just says reference number is SRPH31. It's $275. Like I said, on Amazon right now they have it for $175, $176. So I jumped on it. I will complain to them about the packaging. Because let's say I don't want to keep the watch and I want to resell it. The packaging is basically destroyed, and it looks like someone dropped this down a flight of stairs. So not too happy with that, not too happy with Amazon on this purchase. But I am very happy with the watch. I am impressed with the dial. The little features on this dial are actually very nice. You can see there's at the primary indices, these little dots of orange. There's a little bit of color on this blue background, and it actually matches the underside of the watch. That is something that I have not seen Seiko do. So this is a canvas strap. On the underside is leather. That leather actually matches the dial. You get, the typical large Seiko hands. Love the large hands on Seikos. I don't know why they love to do that. They do it very often on many of their watches. You get a day date. This gets a 4R36, which is basically an NH36. Outside of the Seiko group, inside of the Seiko group, they call it the 4R. You have a day date there at the 3 o'clock. You do get Lumibrite on here. It has a Hardlex crystal, which is domed, and it also has very good AR coating. As you can see, as I move it around in my studio lights, it's really not that bad. So they actually did put a decent amount of AR coating on here, and I'm impressed by it. Now, one of the things that they did with this watch is they sort of made this a mid-sized watch. It's 39.4 millimeters. Now, they've had watches that were 42 millimeters. They had watches that were 37 millimeters and smaller. They have not really come out with a 40 millimeter in a while, and I don't think they have in the Seiko 5 lineup of watches. Now, as I mentioned, this is 39.4 millimeters. Let's do quick measurements so you can see what I'm saying. It actually fits really nicely on my wrist. So 39.4, 39.3, 39.4, just around there. The lug to lug is, I believe, around 47 or 48 millimeters, 47.8 millimeters. Pretty decent crown, unsigned, 6.3 millimeters. And then the thickness is 13.5 millimeters. That's including the domed Hardlex. Now, I do forgive the Hardlex on here because this is a $175 watch. Now, at $275, I can't forgive that. I still think that this should have a sapphire crystal at that price. At the $175, I understand it. At the $275, I don't. You do get Lumibrite, as I mentioned. We'll do a lume shot at the end. You have drilled lugs as well, and you could see the 4R from the back. It is signed Seiko, and then you have that little 5 that sort of looks like an S underneath the Seiko, and that's on the rotor of the 4R movement. And then you have just some of the specs around the perimeter of the case back. It is a screwed-in case back. It is a push-pull crown. You do get 100 meters of water resistance because this is a Seiko 5. This is a good-looking dial. So you have a 60-minute track on the outside, a 12-hour track on the inside. It says Seiko just below the 12 o'clock or the number 12 right there at the top. And then below that, it has that Seiko 5 again, the 5 for Seiko 5. And then in a script that gives it a little bit more of a classy feel, I think. And they put it in script because of that. It just says automatic. The hands, you have those sort of black in the center hands, which I think looks pretty good. I think it works pretty well as well. You just either love or hate these hands, and I kind of am on the fence about it. I don't mind it. They're sort of like sword hands. I don't know what you would actually call them. They're decent. They're not bad. And the finishing all over the watch is very nice. Seiko do a really good job at every level on the finishing. They do have problems with QC issues on other watches where there's bezels and things that need to line up. So you're not going to have any of those little QC issues that bother everyone on a watch like this. The only other problem that I have with this, again, because they're such a huge company, they could do a little bit better on this buckle as well. This is a press buckle. I get it, but at $275, every micro brand on earth offers something a little bit more, I guess, special. Very quickly, let me throw it on my wrist, and then we will do a quick lume shot and then wrap up the video. I'm going to be doing a full review on this watch. I'll be wearing it. I just want to add more Seikos to my collection. I love Seiko. I've sold a lot of my Seikos, and I want to add some really cool Seikos like this, to my collection, back to my collection. I also want to get a Grand Seiko this year. It's one of my collecting goals, and that's really it. So, very quickly, today I have a very interesting watch on. This also gets an NH35 because it is only date, and this is the Paulin and Ordain crossover husband and wife. So the wife works at Paulin or owns Paulin or is one of the partners, and Ordain is where the husband works, and they have watches in both of their companies, and they teamed up on this watch, and I could not resist because of the dial. I really do like Ordain. I just never pulled the trigger on. There's so many watches that I want to buy, and when they came out with this, it was just sort of a no-brainer because it's sort of like a really affordable Ordain. It doesn't have the movement, but the movements that they're using anyway are at a movement. So, I mean, it's not like a huge upgrade, but you're getting the same strap. You're getting a dial that is made by Ordain. So essentially, the major components on here are all sourced through Ordain, and that's pretty cool. I wish it had closed case back, but I've mentioned that before in other videos. Very quickly. Throwing the Seiko on my wrist. Now, as I mentioned, 39.4 millimeters, 39.3 millimeters, and you get a pretty good 13.5 millimeter thickness, and then basically a 48 millimeter lug to lug. On my 7.5 inch wrist, it fits perfect. It really does look perfect on my wrist. It's really my wheelhouse. 40 millimeters to 44 millimeters really works for me well. I can go down to 38, 37 millimeters. I prefer to stay around this 39 to 44 for me. But that's my personal preference, and I think this looks really good. For $175, you really can't go wrong. You're getting a Seiko. It's usually a well-made watch. And this is a well-made watch, I have to say. I really do think this is pretty well-made. Very quickly, let's do a lume shot. I have no idea what the lume is on this watch. I know it's Lumibrite. I have no idea if it's good. I could see that the hands are probably liberally applied with lume. I do not know if the indices are actually lumed or if we're just getting those little dots that are around the dial, if that's all the lume that we're getting. Well, the strap is very interesting. It will take time to actually break in, and then you have this sort of leather strip that sort of guards the holes so they don't get frayed, which is a nice touch. I like that. Just a really cool, affordable, everyday watch. Let's check out the lume, and then we will wrap up the video. So it's not the best lume I've seen on a Seiko, but it is interesting. As I mentioned, those little orange dots, those are the primary indices, so they actually lume those in orange, which is cool, and then the rest is sort of a minty green. So you get a little bi-color effect here. I think it looks good. It is bright and liberally applied where it is applied. Lumibrite obviously is really good. I just wish that there was just more surface area so there would be more lume. So instead of just looming these little dots, I just wish that they loomed everything, all of the indices, all the tracks, everything. I just want more lume because I like lume. But again, this was $175. Retails for $275. Do I think it's worth $275? Yes, if it had a sapphire crystal. Without the sapphire crystal, I have to say this is not a bargain. I don't think at $275 it's worth it. At $175, it's worth it all day long, even with the Hardlex crystal. I would still like to see a sapphire crystal on here. I think they should be putting it at that if they're going to sell these at $275, they should have a sapphire crystal. 100%. In fact, I'd prefer if they just didn't show us the back of the watch. So in other words, if we didn't have a display case back on here, put that money towards putting a sapphire crystal on here. That's what I would prefer. But I think they think about what people want who don't really collect instead of the people who are actually collecting. I think that they just think about the masses when they put together a watch rather than the small fraction of people who are like us, who are kind of obsessed with watches. They're thinking of everybody else who want to know that they have an automatic movement and they want to see it. I get that. I want to see it as well. However, I would prefer the sapphire crystal. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this watch? What do you think of Amazon and that kind of shenanigans that goes on in Amazon? You know, them selling a new watch as a used watch as new. Not the first time I've actually encountered that. It's technically maybe not used. Maybe it's a return. It should have been sold as a return, not with the box completely destroyed. If they said that it was an incomplete watch, then I would have maybe hesitated at $175. I probably would have bought it anyway. But tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. I'll actually put a link down below to this watch. It will be an affiliate link. If you are interested, check it out. Hopefully you do not get the packaging that I got. So definitely buyer beware. You have to be prepared to get packaging that looks absolutely terrible. But if you're in for the watch, you don't care about the packaging, you're just gonna throw it away, then you know, why not? You can see the lume is actually holding on pretty well, and it looks pretty good. That's really it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.